Yes. Oh, hello, there we go, we're live on Facebook, we've made it. There's been a few technical issues going on today, so unfortunately Steve from Not Just Travel isn't able to join us this evening because they've got no internet at their head office, so you've got me instead. So I'm just going to hand you over to some of my colleagues and friends here this evening who are going to update us and just give us a wonderful trip to the Seychelles. We can't take you there in person today, but we can take you in spirit instead. So we're going to go for that one. So I'm going to hand over to Ali, who's going to tell you a little bit, first of all, about Classic Collection Holidays.
Good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to everyone that's joined us this evening to be whisked away to the beautiful Seychelles. As Gemma said, I'm Alison and I work for Classic Collection Holidays, and I'm just going to tell you a little bit about why you should book your holidays with Classic Collection. I'm just going to share my screen. I'll let this one work. Okay, so why should you book your holiday with Classic Collection? First of all, flexibility. We are totally flexible, which means your holiday is tailored specifically to you. We can offer any airline, any duration and any departure airport. All of our overseas representatives are local. They live in the destination and truly are a mine of information. They are on hand for everything you need whilst on your holiday, whether it be organising trips or just recommending a local restaurant or that not to be missed hidden gem. With all of our holidays, you do get the complete package. Your seats will be pre-booked, your luggage will be included, and you will have a private transfer waiting for you on arrival to whisk you straight to your hotel. You even get the good old-fashioned luxury ticket wallets to keep all your holiday documentation in. The classic commitment, really important in these uncertain times. You can book your holiday with us and have the peace of mind that your money is totally safe. Should the Foreign Office advice change and you are no longer able to travel on your holiday, we will offer you a full refund. Now, this is a cash refund, it's not in any voucher form. But of course, if you would rather move your holiday to a later date, then we are more than happy to do this for you free of charge. Classic Collection will not charge any amendment fees whatsoever and also offer you £100 off your next holiday cost or your new holiday cost. But the most important thing is that you can book your holiday with complete confidence and know that your money is safe with us. Then we have our specialist long haul team, headed up by Kate, who's joining us this evening and is going to be sharing her lived experience of some of the wonderful hotels we have on offer in the Seychelles. We have a team of specialists ready to help answer any questions that you may have. They have travelled extensively to the destinations we feature and have a wealth of knowledge. A couple of facts about the Seychelles. So the currency is the Seychelles rupee. The time difference is 4 hours, so they're 4 hours ahead of the UK. The capital city in the Seychelles is Victoria, which is one of the smallest capitals in the world, and the Seychelles was once a pirate hideout. My favourite fact of all, Bird Island is the home to the largest tortoise living in the wild. Now it says on this slide she is called Esmeralda. I do have it on good authority that Esmeralda is actually male and weighs in a whopping 47 stone, maybe a couple of stone more than that now after COVID, who knows. So sit back and enjoy the rest of the journey to the Seychelles. I'm going to hand you over to Karen. Enjoy the evening and thank you. Over to you.
So, yes, thank you. Thank you, Alison. So good evening, everybody. My name is Karen and I'm from the Seychelles Tourism Board, and I am live from the Seychelles to bring you a little bit about my island and give you the inspiration to travel to Seychelles on your next holiday. So I will share my screen and we can get started.
Oh, just very quickly, if anyone has any questions at all, if you pop them onto the Facebook page, what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and go onto the Facebook page, pick up any questions, and then I'll put them to Karen at the end of the presentation and Kate as well. So anything you've got, pop them in there and I'll try and pick them up there for you.
Thank you, Gemma. Okay, so we will start the presentation. So why the Seychelles Islands? What makes us so unique and so different from many other destinations? So many places you can visit today. So one of the things that we are most proud of is that Seychelles is still one of the most pristine, uncommercialized destination remaining, no mass tourism and not overdeveloped. So it is as it was many, many years ago, and you still have that exclusivity and it's not overrun by tourists. We do have some of the most beautiful beaches in the world, but again, not only beautiful beaches, but long, deserted and uncrowded beaches. Most of the time you're on the beach in the Seychelles, you will find your own little private beach with 1 or 2 people, or probably by yourself the whole day. We have many islands for you to discover, and you really get that authentic island experience. There's people living on the island, so you will meet the locals, you will feel and experience the culture. So it is indeed a typical Creole island experience. So this is us. We are located just north of Madagascar on the east coast of Africa, so just 4 to 10 degrees south of the equator in the Indian Ocean. We are an archipelago, so we do have many tiny islands, and altogether 115 islands. Lots of islands to discover, but most of them are inhabited. But the inner islands, this is where we would encourage you to go visit, where all the action is, and also where all the activities and accommodations are. All the other islands that you see here, there's 5 different groups of islands. Most of them are uninhabited. We do have 2 types of islands. This is the granitic islands, the islands with the forest, the nature reserve, what we call sort of like the Jurassic Park. It's completely covered by forest and green all year round. And this is where you will get the typical granite of the Seychelles. We also have the flat little coral atolls that you see here. They're flat little corals and very different. We always encourage people to visit both islands, as it is 2 different types of experiences. So it's again a feeling as if you're going to 2 different destinations. So this is the inner island group where all the action is happening. So you have the main island of Mahe, Praia and Digue. So these are the 3 islands where there's a population living. The first thing I will tell you, if ever you travel to the Seychelles, please do the island hopping. It is a shame to fly all the way there and just stay in one place. Firstly, each island is unique. Each island is different. There's different things to see, different things to do. So definitely you shouldn't stay in one place. And then secondly, it's very easy accessible. So for example, from Mahe to Praia, maximum travel time is 1 hour by boat, 15 minutes by flight. So it's very close, and you have this great schedule of flights, domestic flights, helicopters, and big fast ferry boats. So very easy to move around. So this is it, your island hopping options. And even if you're in the Seychelles for 1 week or 10 days, you can easily do 2 or 3 islands because they are close by. And that is mainly the granitic islands. So we land on Mahe, which is the largest island. It's where we have the international airport, so all the flights would land here, and also home to our little capital, Victoria. The island is still quite big for the Seychelles, but still small because you can drive around 1.5 hours and discover the whole island. And most of the population live here as well. As Alison said, Victoria is known to be one of the smallest capitals in the world. So in an hour and a half, you would have already discovered the whole little town. But ideally, you really need to include it in your itinerary. We have a beautiful tropical market where you can meet the locals, buy spices and souvenirs, see all the local fruits and vegetables and the local fish, museums, art galleries. So there's a lot to do in the little capital. So a morning program is perfect. So you can buy your souvenirs as well. Outside Victoria, there's some great attractions that we always encourage people to visit. So the plantation house that you see at the top, that is a distillery, and that is where we make our local rum, the Takamaka rum. Really tasty rum. There's different types of rum, from the coconut liquor to the pineapple and to the aged rum. So you go there, you see how they make the rum with the sugar cane, and then you, of course, you do some rum tasting and some rum shopping. We have botanical gardens, spice gardens, but of course the beaches as well is something that is huge options on Mahe as well. So very tropical and beautiful things to buy in the market. The island is surrounded by 3 marine parks, and these would be some of the best snorkeling spots. And in the Seychelles, it's quite easy. All you need your mask and your flippers, and you go out not so far. You don't even need a boat, and you can really discover the underwater world as well. We have actually 12 different trails on Mahe, and these are excellent to go with a guide. So then a local guide can show you all the endemic flora and fauna. And again, people don't realize how green and how lush and how the nature is amazing. So for nature paradise, there's a lot for you to see. So So definitely for the more adventurous, you should try out the nature trails. We've got beautiful rainforests and waterfalls, and all of these are protected nature reserves. So you can really go out and explore. And this is a stunning photo of when people think of Seychelles, they don't realize how green and how dense the forest is. Then from Mahe, you go down to Praslin, which is the second largest island. So basically, like I said, very easy. The fast ferry boat is 1 hour and the domestic flight is only 15 minutes. So you can easily plan your trip and you have 2 or 3 boats per day and many, many flights during the day. Praslin is very special because it is home to one of our UNESCO World Heritage Site, and that is the Vallée de Mai. So the Vallée de Mai is this beautiful tropical rainforest. It must be on the itinerary. It is the home of our very famous Coco de Mer. So it's the nut that you see here with the little boy, and it is known to be the largest and heaviest nut in the world. So we're talking of average of about 35 kilos. So that is the female nut, and the long one is the male nut. And because of the shapes, there are many legends and stories that says that the Vallée de Mai is the original Garden of Eden. So this is a must. You can go around, you can do a 1 hour walk or up to 3 hour walk. And if you are lucky, you will get to see the endemic bird, the black parrot, which is only place in the world you will find here in the Vallée de Mai. So definitely a great place to visit. On the island, there's different beaches. For example, Anse Lazio is a very famous one, Anse Georgette at the top. But what is great about the island is you do have some little islands around that you can go for the day. No accommodation, but great excursions, and to really experience more what Seychelles has to offer. So Anse Lazio is a very popular beach. Again, mostly uncrowded. It's not overrun by visitors, and it is the most popular on the island. Curieuse is a bird nature reserve, and it is one of the places you can discover all our endemic birds. We have about 13 species of endemic birds in the Seychelles. So it's a protected island, and you can go there for bird watching. Same for Arid, it's another bird sanctuary. Curieuse is one of our very popular islands that you can go see the giant tortoises. You will find them all over the islands in the Seychelles. But on Curieuse, it's their home, they roam freely, and you can go and visit them. Saint-Pierre is a tiny little rock island, but perfect for snorkeling if you want to see the sea turtles and the manta rays as well. Then from Praslin, you hop down to Digue. Again, if you go to the Seychelles, you miss out Digue, you've really missed something special. It is very different from the other 2 islands. It is more authentic, it's more traditional. It feels a little bit like going back in time. And it's a different pace of life. The only mode of transportation on the island is bicycles. And even locals living on the island, that's the way they move around, on bicycles. So from Praslin, it's only a 15 minutes boat ride. So most people staying on Praslin, they definitely should go for the day. So you can go in the morning about 9, come back in the evening about 5. But we always encourage, if you don't mind changing hotels, to do a couple of nights on Digue as well. So definitely adventure, fun, and bike riding throughout the island. There's beautiful plantation house, there's a vanilla plantation, and you can go and see where they make the coconut oil as well. There's beautiful islands around you can visit, such as Coco Island. It's one of the very famous snorkeling spots that you can go and visit for the day. Stunning beaches. Digue has some of the most stunning beaches in the Seychelles. For example, Anse d'Argent. This is a must, should be on the itinerary, and that is because of its granitic boulders and granitic formations. And it's always warm. As soon as you step in the ocean, you will find all the fish around, and it's surrounded by a coral reef. So very safe and excellent for kids as well. On the other side of the island, Gonzance, you've got a bit more wild, a bit more waves. Again, on this beach, you will hardly see more than 5 to 10 people. Some stunning ones as well, Petite Anse as well, if you want to walk a little bit, Anse Coco. So there's a lot to discover. And I would say Digue has some of the most beautiful ones in the Seychelles. The granitic islands are mostly island resorts. So one island, one resort concept. And you've got your private villas with private pools. You've got some famous ones like North Island, Fregat, Six Senses, and Felicity. In these, again, you can easily combine with Mahe or Praslin. Couple of nights on Mahe and a couple of nights, for example, at the Six Senses, or the Setan has a new Club Med, or, you know, you are sport for choice, and on Silhouette as well. which Kate will mention a few of the properties later on. Two of our coralline islands are quite accessible from Mahe. So they are north of Mahe, about 30 to 40 minutes flight, and that is Bird and Dennis. So Bird, like the name says, is the island for birds. It's all about conservation. It's perfect for snorkeling, for fishing, for bird watching, and you've got millions and millions of birds coming on the island. And as Alison says, it is the place for our very famous Esmeralda. So he's lived there and he still lives there. And if you go to Bird Island, you can see this amazing creature as well. Dennis, I would say it's a little bit more upscale. Kate will tell you a little bit about it later, but again, perfect for diving, for fishing, for snorkeling, and it's surrounded by coral reefs as well. So it's perfect for all the water activities. The outer islands are mostly uninhabited. We only have two of them that have a resort, and that is Alphonse and De Roche. So Alphonse is about a 1 hour flight, and De Roche is about a 40 minutes flight where you have the Four Seasons. So out there, it's what we call the Robinson Crusoe experience. You're in the middle of nowhere. It's so remote, but it's just stunning, very untouched. I would say there you can do a lot of fly fishing. This is what it's popular for. Go swimming with the dolphins, with the manta rays, go lunch on the flats. So it is a beautiful, beautiful experience. So in terms of the Seychelles in general, we are a small nation, only about 98,000 people, so very small population. And it is a mixed blend of people from Europe, Africa, and Asia. So you've got this, what we call the melting pot of cultures, different ethnic groups and colors. We have 3 official languages, so English, French, and our local everyday language is the Creole. Sounds a little bit like the French as well. The main religion is the Roman Catholic on the islands. So when can you go there? I'm sure this is what a lot of you ask. When can I go? I already want to go. So it is an all year round destination. We're outside of the cyclone belt, so we don't get affected by any cyclones in the Indian Ocean. So we do get this pleasant climate all year, temperature ranging from minimum 26 to maximum 32. So it's really, really pleasant range of temperature. If you are looking at the best months to travel, March, April, May, September, October, November, we would consider it as the best of the best out of the year. December to mid-February is the period where we do get a bit more frequent tropical showers. We are close to the equator, so we do get a bit of rain throughout the year, but during this period, you might expect a bit more frequency. So a couple of hours in the morning or in the evening, and it's a torrential shower, and then the sun comes out and it's all dry. So it's not every day all the time. Quite easy to access from the UK. You've got Emirates flying down, Etihad, Ethiopian, Kenyan Airways, Qatar, and Turkish Airlines. So really good accessibility through their hubs and down into the Seychelles. In terms of accommodation, Kate will talk a bit about that later. But what I would like to mention is that in the Seychelles, we have a bit of everything for everyone. So depending on your budget, you can find small guest houses, self-catering, little apartments, chalets, bungalows on the beach, to your 3, 4, 5-star luxury and island resorts. So across the 3 islands, you have that choice, and it's not just for the rich and famous as most people think. And Kate will give you a few of the options later. These, for example, are the beautiful villas with private pools. And like I said, we also have our little properties run by local families. In terms of the nature, very important, which I've mentioned earlier, about 1,000 species of endemic flora and fauna. So a nature lover's paradise. There's so much to discover, from the birds, the tortoises, and the palms. Just a few examples, our little green geckos, the tiny frog, it's about 3 millimeters. So we do have one of the tiniest frogs when you go hiking, maybe you can see them. The sea turtles, we've got 2 types in the Seychelles. We've got the green turtle and the hawkbill turtle. And you will, if you are lucky, you get to see them when they come on the beach to lay their eggs. And that is between September up to February. But definitely when you go out snorkeling and diving, you will see them. Amazing creatures. And you might even get the chance to see the little eggs hatch and go out into the sea. So they are protected in the Seychelles. The Vallée de Mai, which I've mentioned, is one of our UNESCO sites. The other one is Aldabra. And it is one of the islands that is the most furthest away from Mahe. And people would go there on an expedition. For example, like they would go to Antarctica because it's very remote, very difficult to get there. And all they do there is doing conservation and preservation of the ecosystem, and as it's quite fragile, but a very, very special place, and very few people have actually been. It has a tortoise population of 150,000. So I always joke, I say, we have more tortoises in the Seychelles than people. And Aldabra, I would say, definitely does. But it is a stunning, stunning place, and definitely considered as a UNESCO site. So what can you do when you arrive here? I mean, again, it's not just a beach destination. You're not going to be bored. You're not going to be just lying there all day. There's a lot to do. For example, sailing and cruising. I find this is one of the best ways to discover the islands, either by day excursions to nearby islands, but even better, why not 5 nights, 6 nights cruises. In one trip, you will see up to 8 to 10 islands, and they have fantastic itineraries. Every day you stop on one island and visit, and then you move on to the next one, and you cover the whole inner island. So up to 10 islands in only 6 days. Snorkeling, I mentioned earlier, you've got amazing visibility throughout the year, no pollution, crystal clear blue waters. Best season is April, May, October, November. So that's when you have the best visibility. And the temperature is about 28 to 30 degrees. And the marine parks are some of the best places as they are protected. So great snorkeling, great diving. You can go diving off all the main islands, as well as some of the best diving would be out on the outer islands, as there's underwater grottos and caves, and you can really experience something spectacular. Again, April, May, October, November, when you have the best visibility, and you have dive centers all over to take you out to some of the best spots. So a really great underwater world to discover while in the Seychelles. You can go swimming with the whale sharks as well. Fishing is very popular, big game fishing, deep sea fishing, and fly fishing, which I mentioned out on the flats on the atolls. And it is world-class fly fishing, and people go there for a whole week and all they do is fly fishing. So it's very, very special. I think it's quite popular. It's getting more and more popular. Golf, we have an 18-hole golf course. For golf lovers, we have something for you. On the island of Praslin, we have a fantastic course, the championship course, so you can try the golf as well. The walks and trails I mentioned in Mahe, but Praslin, Digue, and Silhouette has fantastic trails. Some of them very leisurely, half an hour to an hour, where you end up on a secluded little beach. Some of them more intense, up to 3 hours, going up into the mountains. And when you get there, that fantastic view, which is well worth it. So you do have quite a few options, and you can really do a bit more adventure. Wellness and spa, you come to the Seychelles, you need to rejuvenate and really relax. And we have these fantastic spas in the various resorts. And of course, it has to be outdoors in the Seychelles. Really get in touch with nature. You can do your yoga or all your relax and rejuvenation exercises. What has Seychelles always been known for? Islands of love, very romantic, and perfect as a honeymoon and wedding destination. You can have the civil wedding and of course have the religious wedding as well. And it is a legal wedding, so it is recognized internationally and you get your certificate. So it is a proper wedding, but the best part is you have these amazing backdrops for these fantastic photos and memorable photos. So you are really spot for choice, from the resorts to the rocks to the beaches, even underwater if you want. But for example, I love this one with the little beach and the golf course, and one of my favorites in the Vallée de Mai, and of course on the stunning beaches. So you're really spot for choice. And of course, when you're in the Seychelles for weddings, you stay for the honeymoon as well. Just some basic essentials. Short time difference, relatively short, 3 hours in the summer, 4 in the winter. You don't need a visa to come to the Seychelles. You don't need vaccinations as well. You can rent a car driving on Mahe and Praslin. It is left-hand drive. And again, you will never get lost. We have one road in the Seychelles going around the island, so no worries at all about driving around. On Digue, of course, is the bicycles. We have local taxis as well. So that was an overview of the islands. Just to finish off, some of the reasons why the Seychelles should be your next holiday destination. We've mentioned already the exclusivity. It's not overrun by tourists, and especially nowadays with all that's happening, people want to get away and have their own little private paradise. Pleasant climate all year round, no cyclones, a stunning flora and fauna, and unique to the Seychelles that you will find nowhere else in the world. And I know most of you, what you want is the beaches, uncrowded, beautiful crystal clear waters and soft powder sands, and we have that in the Seychelles. Exclusivity, but also diversity. We have a lot of beaches, we have a lot of activities, the people, the culture, the cuisine, everything is quite diverse. The islands are very different. So lots to explore and experience. The people are very friendly, so they make you feel at home. And by the time you leave, you will be part of the family, and you would have made so many friends in the Seychelles. It is a safe destination. You can move around on your own. You can, rent a car and go around. It is a stable country. No tropical diseases, so no yellow fever and malaria, and no dangerous plants, animals. So even if you go hiking and you see the lizards and the spiders, so nothing is poisonous. So very safe for kids as well, as, and on the beach as well. And of course, you get this local experience, this authentic island experience. I would say Seychelles is a destination for everybody. Families, multi-generation families, couples, wedding couples, honeymooners. But I think more and more it's been a really great family destination. Lastly, I would mention that Seychelles is, since the 25th of March, we are open to visitors worldwide. So as soon as the restrictions in UK has been lifted, you can travel to the Seychelles. All UK visitors are welcome. All you need is a PCR test 72 hours before departure. You apply your entry via our health travel authorization. Once you get that, then you fly down to the Seychelles. No restrictions in your movement, no minimum stays, and no quarantine. So you can do your island hopping, stay 3 nights there, 2 nights there, and just move around. Of course, keeping to all the local policies and regulations about mask wearing and of course social distancing. But again, you can just go about and have a wonderful holiday. So that was it for me about the Seychelles in general. I hope I was able to give you a bit of inspiration on this cold UK night. I know I'm here in the warm Seychelles, but I hope that you can join me here soon as well. So thank you very much. And I will hand over back to Kate, who will take care of, show you where you can stay while you are here in the Seychelles. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Karen. That was lovely. I just, I wish I could be out there. Seychelles is one of my favorite destinations. It's just so beautiful. Now, can you see my screen? Can you see the presentation? Yeah, brilliant. Let's just go. Okay, yeah, Seychelles is incredible.
Kate, sorry, now we've lost it. Now we've lost it.
Okay, hold on, let me redo it. Stop share. Is it back?
Come in. Yes, and you can put it full screen. Perfect.
Brilliant. Okay. Yes, Seychelles is absolutely fantastic. Those beaches are incredible. And like Karen said, you're lucky if you see 3 or 4 people on some of these beaches. You know, you'll drive around the coastal road, the sea is right beside you, and you'll find these beaches where anywhere else in the world they would be heaving with people, and you can have the whole beach to yourself. It's incredible. I would say they definitely come very close to the Maldives beaches. But what the Seychelles offers that the Maldives doesn't is that chance to explore and try the local cuisine and see the wildlife, and also this incredible mountain scenery that Karen was talking about with the granitic islands, where you've got these imposing black mountains covered in lush jungle. But anyway, enough of that. I'm going to talk you through just 4 of my favorite hotels. I didn't want to try and cover every resort in the Seychelles, but just to give you an idea of the range of styles of accommodation that you can get, and just, as I say, pick out a few of my favorites, starting with Dennis Island, which, as Karen said, it's one of the coral islands. You can see on this picture here, it's got incredible coral reef all around it, and it is just incredible. It's unique. I don't think I've stayed anywhere else like it, and it's absolutely the place to stay if you want that real Robinson Crusoe experience. It's a relatively large island. It takes about an hour and a half to walk all the way around. It's very lush and dense inside. There's plenty of space to explore. It has its own farm, but more than anything, it just has space for you to find your own little spot with no one else around. It's only 30 minutes flight from Mahe on a light aircraft, and the arrival is incredible. You come in over the coral reef, circle round, and then land on a grass airstrip, and you can see all the staff waiting to kind of greet you and take you to your room. The beaches are incredible. The resort is mostly down one side of the island, and that's where you've got this long stretch of soft white sand that's absolutely beautiful. And then on the other side of the island, it's a little bit wilder, with lots of sort of rocks and natural interest. Oh, page down isn't working. There we go. Dennis Island is fantastic for wildlife. So you walk out from your cottage straight into the sea, and you can see stingrays, turtles, reef sharks, lemon sharks. On land, they've got an amazing conservation program. It was a plantation for many, many years, and they've been rewilding the island to bring back a lot of the endemic species which are endangered. So bird life is incredible. You have these giant tortoises, which is just amazing, turtle nests, and they've got a fantastic naturalist who will take you around the island on a free tour and point out where you'll see the turtles, where they nest, all kinds of wildlife that you wouldn't spot on your own. This is very much about barefoot luxury. So it's really, as I said, that Robinson Crusoe, escaping from it all amongst just stunning nature. There's only 25 cottages. So even if you've got every cottage occupied, it's never going to feel full, and you will always have space for yourself. I think when I stayed, pretty much any time we walked out onto the beach, I don't think I saw a soul, even though there were other cottages sort of just to my right and my left. It's not flashy luxury. It's not about room service. It's not about lots and lots of facilities. It's about that beautiful escape and really homely, cozy cottages. So they're beautifully done, very spacious. You've got a big garden area with a patio, outdoor deck, loungers, a big day bed, and a beautiful outdoor bathroom area. One thing to mention is there is no television and there's no Wi-Fi in the rooms. That did definitely scare me before I arrived, but actually it's perfect. There is Wi-Fi up at the reception, and there's a lovely, comfortable library lounge where you can use the Wi-Fi, but it just means you switch off. And with that sort of stunning natural beauty around, it would just be such a shame to be on your phone, but it's always worth warning people. Oops. So for the next one, something very different, Constance Ophelia, which is based on Mahe. This is much more of a resort style property. So as Karen mentioned, there is a wide range of accommodation. A lot of the accommodation in Seychelles is slightly smaller, a bit more boutique style, very characterful, but because it's smaller, they don't tend to have as many facilities, as much of a choice of dining, that kind of thing. Constance Ophelia is really special because it does have that wide range, but without sacrificing the setting. So what you can see here, this whole peninsula is Constance Ophelia. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but over on the far left-hand side, you can see one of the beaches there. And then just on the other side, there's a little narrow strip of land. They have another beach. Two of the best beaches on Mahe, both belonging to Constance Ophelia. And in fact, this beach that we can see in the picture here is actually Port Launay Marine Park, which again is one of the best places on the island to go snorkeling. And you can literally, I walked straight off the beach, on the left-hand side of the beach, amazing coral, fantastic marine life. So it's a really good location for the resort. It's also, as you can see from that picture, surrounded by Mont Seychelles National Park. So you can see these mountains, a very kind of brooding backdrop behind. It's quite a secluded location. It's about 45 minutes drive from Mahe Airport and about 30 minutes drive from Victoria. It's a really scenic drive as you kind of wind up and down over the mountains of Mont Seychelles National Park. And as Karen was saying, I'd really recommend getting out and exploring at least for a day or two when you're there. It's very easy to drive. As Karen said, most of the time it's a coastal road. You just keep the sea on one side and you can't go wrong. But if you don't fancy driving, it's really easy to hire a car and driver and basically go where he'll take you wherever you want to go for a day or a half day. As I mentioned, what's really special about Constance Ophelia is the huge range of activities. If you want to be busy, if you want plenty to do, I mean, they've even got zip lining and rock climbing there, as well as the standard facilities like Kids Club. Constance hotels are really well known for their spas, and this is definitely no exception. It's a great spa here. Plus you've got several pools, you've got water sports, dive centre, and again, a giant tortoise reserve. Dining wise as well, like with the rest of the facilities, there's plenty of choice. And what I like about this one is that if you book half board, you can dine at all of the restaurants. I know sometimes when you upgrade to a half board or full board, there's restrictions about where you can dive. So this is great. And then the last point that I love about Constance is the rooms. They're all really spacious. So it starts with a junior suite, beautifully decorated, a lovely kind of colonial decor. You've got 2 and 3 bedroom family villas. You've got beach villas with pools. And then the picture that you can see at the bottom here is one of my favorites. This is the hillside villa. And you can see you've got a great view down to the sea, down over that beach that we were just looking at in an earlier picture. And then moving on from Constance Ophelia, again, we've got a nice bit of a contrast here. This is Coco de Mer, which is a much smaller boutique property on Praslin. As Karen was saying, I would definitely recommend island hopping when you go to the Seychelles. The islands are all very different. They've got a very unique character, and it's great fun hopping around. I mean, it's light air or small aircraft flights, and the views as you go from island to island are just incredible. Coco de Mer here, again, like Ophelia, it's got a very beautiful secluded location, but Praslin is a little bit smaller than Mahe, so you're never really that far from anywhere. You've got, this is the beach at the resort, but you're still only 15 minutes drive from the airport. So I don't think there's many places where you can transfer from the airport that quickly and be in this beautiful, untouched tropical location. It's also only 10 minutes from where you take the ferry over to La Digue, and that ferry takes 15 minutes from Praslin. So if you want to hop over for a day trip, you can be over to La Digue in half an hour or maybe even slightly less. And then again, it's 10 minutes from Vallée de Mai, whereas Karen was saying you can see those amazing Coco de Mer fruits. The resort itself has got this lovely bay. There's sun lounges and hammocks all kind of lining just overlooking the bay. And then it's backed by this incredible lush tropical jungle. It's very characterful, charming. It's got a real Seychelles, a real Creole feel to it. It's fantastic value. So price-wise, this is always a lot lower than I think it should be. And it's a very intimate and friendly resort. There's only 50 rooms here. The standard rooms are very spacious, but I do like the rooms that you can see in this picture here, just at the bottom. These are the superior rooms, which have got a lovely little outdoor deck, and they are looking out over the ocean front. There are also junior suites just up the hillside from the main resort. They have an adults only area called Black Parrot Suites, and they have junior suites up there, and also it has its own pool if you want a more adult only, non-family atmosphere. Facilities wise, obviously, as a smaller boutique property, it doesn't have the range that Ophelia would offer, but it does nonetheless have a really good range for a hotel of its size. So you can see here in that top picture, it's got an overwater pool that's also an amazing spot for sunset viewing. There's a second pool that's overlooking the ocean, and also that third pool that I mentioned up at the Black Parrot Suites area. You do have a choice of 2 restaurants. There's non-motorized water sports, there's a spa, and they will also arrange free nature hikes around the area, making use of that incredible jungle setting that they have behind them. one thing I should mention before we move on from this is we do have an exclusive offer at the moment at Coco de Mer. So if you book by the 25th of May, they have a 7th night free. You can get a further 10% discount, and you can also get an upgrade to the superior rooms that we were looking at that have that nice little patio. So that's for travel anytime between now and the end of November next year, excluding that Christmas and New Year, just as long as you book by the 25th of May. And then the last resort that I want to talk about is Hilton Le Brise. Again, a little bit of a contrast. This is similar to Dennis Island. This has that private island feel. So Dennis Island, Hilton Le Brise, they are both the only resorts on that island. So you get that semi-Robinson Crusoe feel, but the Hilton Le Brise is very different style to Dennis. So whereas Dennis is all about that barefoot luxury, only 25 rooms, very small, but plenty of space, Hilton Le Brise has got a lot more rooms. It's got a choice of rooms and that range of facilities. So it really depends a little bit on your personal taste as to whether you prefer that kind of quiet, laid back, exclusive luxury, or whether you're looking for plenty of activity and things to do. Hilton Le Brise is also a little bit easier to reach. It's a 45-minute boat ride from Mahe, so very easy to twin with a stay on Mahe, or even you could do Praslin and Mahe and a stay on Hilton Le Brise. As you can see from the picture, the beach is just stunning. So that's only actually part of the beach, but it runs for miles and miles all the way along. It's such a pristine, soft white sand beach. And again, you've got great snorkeling if you head out there in terms of the marine life. Silhouette Island is a stunning natural island. I think about 90% of it is national park, and I believe it's actually on the list to be considered as a UNESCO site. So it's an incredible island to explore. As I said, Hilton Le Brise does have a really good choice of villas. So they're all very spacious. The picture that you can see at the bottom here, that's just one of the standard villas. So that gives you an idea of the kind of the level of luxury that you would get at all of the villas. They're very spacious. In all of them, you'll have an outdoor deck area, an outdoor shower. You have a choice of whether you have the garden view or an ocean view. And there are also some that you can just see on this picture just behind the beach here. So you've got direct beachfront access. There are also some you can see from the top picture that have private pools. And like with Ophelia, there's a really good range of dining here. So you can have everything from fresh seafood to Mediterranean to, I think there's a couple of different types of Japanese cuisine. They have a lovely restaurant called Gran Kaz, which is set in the old plantation owner's house, which they've renovated. So there's got some real character and charm to the island. There's plenty to do. As I said, Hilton Le Brise, like Constance Ophelia, it's a large resort with plenty of facilities. So there's a large pool, got a great spa, kids club, diving and snorkeling. The island is fantastic to explore. There are a couple of great little hikes that you can do just along from the resort. They have free bikes, so you can, I borrowed a bike, cycled for about 20 minutes, walked for 20 minutes, and again, I was in this amazing scenery with not a soul around until I got back to the resort. So definitely worth exploring as you go back around. You can do nature hikes with the resort, and they can also drop you off at some deserted beaches just around the corner from the island, which is a great way to have a nice little romantic break. Plus you've got tennis, table tennis, and all of the other sports that you can do. So that's just a taste of the kind of things you can do. You've got beautiful boutique, smaller resorts. You've got larger resorts with plenty of facilities. Absolutely do twin the resorts together and explore more of the islands. And yeah, the only other thing I think I would say is go whenever you can. I've been so many times, and it's still one of my favorite destinations, I think, that I've been anywhere in the world. So I shall stop sharing my screen and hand back to either Gemma or Alison, I guess.
just need to put mine back on, or else it's not going to be much help, is it? Thank you so much, Kate. Thank you so much, Karen. You've definitely inspired me to want to go this evening, and I'm sure lots of other people who are watching along on Facebook as well. I had a look on there. I couldn't see any questions coming up. But absolutely, you know, I think it's a wonderful place. We need to get over there as soon as possible. We need Boris to let us go first of all. So as soon as we've got his announcement, then we can absolutely start making some plans for the Seychelles. Anyone who's looking to make an inquiry for this evening, you just contact your local, your Not Just Travel agent, and they will be able to book it all with Classic Collection for you. Unfortunately, they've had a few technical issues at Not Just Travel this evening. They've had their internet go down, so that's why they haven't been able to have anyone on there hosting us this evening. But one thing we didn't mention is Karen is actually in the Seychelles at the moment. So if you just wanted to be jealous as you're in the cold English evening, she's actually, although it is late at night there. Yeah. Oh, there are a few questions. If you want us to put them on here, brilliant. Add them on, and we can read them out.
That would be great. Yeah. And it is about 30 degrees outside this evening, just not to make you feel any worse.
And it's what, and that's is it 11 o'clock there or 10 o'clock there now?
11 o'clock at night.
11 o'clock. 30 degrees at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you can see these, Karen. So first, which is the best island for wildlife in your opinion?
Wildlife. Oh, okay. So it's a few options. I mean, you would have, for example, some of the main islands like for example, Praslin, you would have the Valle de Mai, so that we would encourage because, you know, you have quite a few endemic species on there. But those for more, let's say, conservation and all, we would mention the likes of Bird, the likes of Dennis, because there you've got a lot of bird sanctuaries, you've got bird conservation, tortoise conservation. And then you have certain islands that are specifically, there's no accommodation, and those would be Curieuse, you would be Cousin, Arid. So there's quite a few, depending on your, let's say, on your preference, you could actually go and visit. But you are spoiled in terms of the choices, I would say.
Perfect. Next question, which hotel would you recommend best for couples and which for families, if you had to pick two?
I will mention, and then Kate can put her opinion as well.
Yes, we'll ask you both.
Yeah, for families, I find the bigger resorts, for example, Ephelia, Hilton Le Brise, the Coco de Mer. These I think are quite suited as they have things to do, their location. They've got a lot of activities for kids. They're more kid friendly, I would say. Especially Ephelia being one of the largest resorts in the Seychelles. It's got the zip line, it's got the mountain climbing, it's got the 2 beaches. So I would say these 3, and then for couples it can be any of these, but also sort of the smaller intimate ones as well, the higher end like the Four Seasons, or the small boutique like the Hilton North Home, the Carana Beach. So there is a bit for both, but most of them can cater for both couples and both families. What would you say, Kate?
I think you took the words right out of my mouth, actually. Okay. Definitely, you've covered most of those. Carana Beach for couples, you know, some of the island getaways that we were looking at. But I don't think there's many resorts that I would go, oh, no, don't go there. They're pretty much work for either families or couples.
Yes, yeah, I would say as well, yeah.
There's a couple of questions on villas. Where would be the best place to stay if you wanted to hire a private villa? And is it mostly villas or hotels on the island? So
in the Seychelles in general, I would say it's a mix. When you look at the bed stock, it's mostly hotels, but then you have some higher end that would be villas. For example, the Four Seasons, the Raffles, these would be the villas and private pools, the Maya Anantara Maya villas. And then the island resorts, for example, your North, your Fregat, your Felicity, these also would be villa based. So you have a choice. On Mahe, Praslin, and La Digue, you've got the choice of both. More hotels rather than villas. But if you are looking for that secluded villas, then the Six Senses is perfect. For the higher end, North and Fregat is perfect. On Mahe would be, I would say, Four Seasons and Maya would be sort of the villa concept, and Raffles on Praslin. What would you think, Kate? Anyone I've missed?
Lemuria, I guess, on Praslin, yes. But I think that's probably.
They also have some villa options. They but I would say if you're looking at both, there are more hotels rather than just villas. I would say in Seychelles in general.
Perfect. And then the last question that we had, if you could go any time of year, what would be the best time to go?
So definitely I would say March, April, May, September, October, November. So your spring and autumn, I would say, is the best of the best. June, July, August, the temperature is what we as locals say cool, but when we say cool, it's 26, 27. For us, it's cool.
Your cool is different to our cool, isn't
Yeah,
it?
exactly. You've got people in their PJs and you know, tucked in at night at 27 degrees. But no, it is a little bit cooler during that time. There is a bit more wind, so crossing between the islands can get a bit choppy, and it's not the best for the snorkeling and the diving because of the visibility. So spring and autumn is the best. The winter breaks, which is more popular, is also ideal. Temperature remains the same. It's just there you might have to expect a bit more frequent showers, like I mentioned before, but it doesn't stop your holiday, because like I've experienced since I've been here, you've got a couple of, let's say not even an hour of shower, and then the sun comes out and it's like nothing has happened. It cools down and then, you know, the sun comes out. But your spring and your autumn, I would say, is the best of the best.
If you've got any time to go for spring and autumn. Fabulous.
Yes.
And then just lots of comments about how beautiful it looks, how lovely it looks, and how much everyone wants to go.
It is gorgeous.
Thank you so much. And
that's always the comments for the Seychelles, isn't it? It's always it's so inspirational. You just look at it and be like, yeah, that's where I want to be right now.
So now we're waiting for the restrictions to be lifted, and then you guys can start booking all your clients to come down to us. Definitely.
Absolutely. So as soon as it's lifted, have a word with your Not Just Travel agent, and they will absolutely be able to book that up for you. Yeah. So thank you. I think we're all done for this evening. Thank you all for joining us. Anyone who's watching us live on the Facebook this evening, we hope we've inspired you for the Seychelles, and I hope to see you again. Thank you.
Thanks
everyone.
Have a good
Bye.
evening.